Guys, Daniel's son, welcome to the channel, and we are back with the 456. Now again, you guys know that we had to take the cylinder heads off because the valves were leaking. Now I sent them down to my teachers. Their shop is called Eyeball Performance. I wanted to do a shout out for them because they help me a lot. Even with cars that I work on here, they help me diagnose them and stuff like that. So yeah, they're extremely helpful. So this is a shout out for them. So the heads are going down there to their machinist, the one that they work with, because after that, they are gonna be checking or double checking the work of the machinist just to make sure everything is good. The heads with the cams, lifters, and everything went because they're gonna adjust everything for me, which makes my job way easier. Now, when the head gets here, I'm gonna have to at least triple check just to make sure everything didn't, nothing got damaged or anything like that. Now, the heads are getting fully rebuilt, so that's gonna be taken care of. Tyler was like, yeah, go ahead and rebuild them, no problem. So that's what we're doing right now. Now, I do have some bad news. Unfortunately, I'm gonna be abandoning the project for the channel. The project is going now under the shop. So I'm basically going to be working on it as a shop vehicle instead of a car that I've been working on my spare time for the channel. So I'm going to have to abandon it for that sole reason. Now, I will be doing updates on Instagram just to make sure that you guys are kind of keeping up to it, but I will not be making any more videos. But now, since I feel bad about that, I am bringing a brand new project for you guys. And yes, this is insane. So let's go ahead and do the reveal. So this right here is the F131 engine, also known as the Ferrari 360 engine. This is a V8 making about 400 horsepower, also has a red line of 8,700 RPM. These engines scream at wide open throttle, and it's one of my favorite engines. Now there's something else that I'll be showing here in a minute. They are actually 5-valve, so 3 intake valves and 2 exhaust valves. Now I have no idea what year this engine is, but it came out of a 360 Coupe F1 transmission. It's one of our customers here. He has a California now, but he had a 360 before, and he brought this engine in totes and in a pallet because he had an engine swap. I don't know who did the engine swap, but according to him, this engine was knocking. So they did an engine swap, and then they tore this one down to see what was the actual cause. Now, looking at it, I did not see any major failures, and we're gonna be checking them out together. But again, I feel really good about putting this engine back together. So the only problem with this engine is cost. Okay, it's insanely expensive to rebuild one of these. I'm gonna be talking about that here in a minute as well. But yeah, you're gonna see some prices that are insane. We're gonna do a quick walk around. Now right here, this is just the power harness. This goes to the starter and stuff like that. Now right here, you can see all the pistons are in place. None of them are damaged or anything like that. There's no up and down or side to side play on any of them. Now over here, we have two missing pistons. This is number 7 and number 8. So the pistons themselves are not damaged, or the connecting rods or anything like that, or the piston rings. It's actually the bearings, and I'll be showing that here in a second as well. Important thing, the oil pump, those are pretty expensive. So let's go over to the table that I have over here that I got more parts, and then there's a pallet back there with even more parts. We're gonna be checking out both here real quick. So these are some of the parts. And then right here, we got some coils. Now over here, these are the pistons. So you can see there's really no crazy damage on them. Now the damage, as you can see, is right here. The bearing, you can see it has worn up, has worn through a few coats, which probably the other bearings are the same, I would say, or close. Now we have these camshafts, and as you can see, there's a lot of rust on them, which unfortunately, it actually damages these variators. So these have to be replaced. Luckily, I can separate the variator from the camshaft, but again, these need to be replaced. This engine was actually sitting in a storage container back there, and unfortunately it had a leak. So there's a lot more rust in other parts, which I'll show you here in a second. Now we got the valve covers. This is the OEM color of the valve covers on the 360. No idea why they didn't paint them red, but again, this is the color. I guess they just wanted to focus on the intake, which is something else that we don't have, the intake manifold, which is red with crinkle paint. I think they wanted to focus there. Over here, now we take a look at the lifters. So you can see we have 3 for the intake, 2 for the exhaust. So these right here, this is 1 cylinder, 2, 3, 4, and you can start seeing the level of corrosion and rust. So these lifters, some of these are stuck in there, so a little bit of WD-40, get them loose, whatever. These need to be replaced. These are all hydraulic lifters, and they're full of dirt and garbage and rust, so definitely need to be replaced. Now we're looking at the valves, and you can see we got 5 valves per cylinder, which is extremely cool, and it does help the sound, if I'm not mistaken, on these cars. Now I have everything on this pallet. It's probably been back here for about a year, I would say. Now this is just stuff that goes in the sump. We got these right here are the coolant passages on top of the engine that actually connect to the water pump, which is that piece right there. Then we have the exhaust manifolds, which actually have cat material in them. This one is actually melted, unfortunately, so this one's no good. I don't even understand why they put tape and covered it up, because this is the melted one. The one that's not covered up under the table over there is perfectly fine. Now we have a little bucket with miscellaneous stuff, mass airflow sensors, and a bunch of brackets and stuff like that. But again, as you can see, we're missing the intake, which is a big problem because it's a very expensive piece. Now let's briefly touch on cost, because I haven't done a real parts list on this thing, but pretty much we're talking about $15,000 on just a quick search on things that I know that I'm gonna need. So we're talking about headers are gonna be between $2,000 and $5,000. Piston rings are gonna be like $2,000, and this is OEM stuff, well, except for the headers, but the piston rings are gonna be OEM. The bearing set is gonna be about $1,000. The lifters are about $1,000, so and so on. You know, gasket set, whatever else I need, you know, that doesn't even include rebuilding the heads, which they really needed. Now for the next video, by the way, if you guys want to watch that, go ahead and subscribe, like, and share with anybody who might be interested. We are going to do a full teardown. We're going to take everything apart and see what we actually need and build a list according to that to see if we got ourselves way over our heads, which I believe we did. Now, sorry that this video has been me just talking, but we just don't have any other projects right now. The 456 gone. The Q5 is ready to be picked up. That is done. No, I could not fix a sunshade. Guy doesn't care. I dropped the price. I don't even want to talk about that anymore. So I'm going to close out the video right here. But before I do that, I want to give Wizard like a big thank you, because he actually gave me this engine. He struck a deal with the owner of the engine, and he came up to me and he's like, here you go, you can have it. It was initially an idea for his channel that I suggested, but he still got the engine for me, which I almost passed out. You know, I've always wanted to own a Ferrari, obviously, and this is what, one fifth of a Ferrari? So I'm making some progress. Now, obviously, I'm extremely excited. I hope you guys are too, and I will definitely be seeing you in the next video.